Hello, I'm Referencias. Welcome. This is my project. I'm going to talk about Kenya, some main aspects about the social, cultural, and economical characteristics from this country. So let's talk first about some important data from this country. It is located in the east region of Africa. Um, it has 68 languages around, but only two are official, which are English and Swahili. The English is mostly spoken during administration situations or education or for formal and official events. For all the others, they can use the languages of their own tribes even. There are around 51.39 million inhabitants over there. It is known by its biodiversity, either of animals, also from landscapes, and their coin is the shilling, the Kenyan shilling. Now let's talk about history. Okay, the first remains of fossilized hominids were found around this land. And the first inhabitants, according to records, were the Khoisan. They used to talk Bantu, which later on, when in the 5th century the Arabics came to the land, the Bantu mixed with Arabic and the Arabic language, and from there the Swahili language was born, which is still spoken until today. Around 1498, the Portugal kingdom got there to Africa, and they were there for around 200 years. And later on, the Swahilian people asked for help to the British kingdom, which was there at first just helping. Then one of the sultans over there gave some permissions to the British kingdom, and that's how the British East Africa Company was created. Later on, it was called the Protectorate, which was in around like in 1921, and later on in 1963, Kenya gets its independence. However, during like the 17th century, the 18th and 19th century, the European countries were fighting a lot for African lands, and later on they divided the lands without asking the tribes how they used to work or not, and this created like there was a lot of rage and anger around all the tribes. This created violence, which is still till now, like it's currently happening in Nairobi and in other countries and cities, which are mainly differences in religion and the tribes. So this history really has an impact in today's moments. About the material culture, we're not going to talk about this much, but let's talk about the most famous food, which is ugali. It is a ball of maize flour, which they usually eat along with saucy beef, mushrooms, or fish stew. And there is also this famous building, which is called the Fort of Jesus. It is in Mombasa, and it was built during the Philip II king of Spain. But this fort actually has some influence from Portuguese architecture. Okay, so let's talk about the social economical context. Uh, I'm going to talk about five aspects that are mainly known from this country. One of them is corruption. Yeah, for them, they are known as a very collective society. So sadly, there's a lot of corruption there. For them, their personal interests are first, then the tribe's interest second, and third and finally the corporate interest. The corruption takes us to the second aspect, which is poverty. It is extreme in many places, but in some others it is not. So you can see that there's not an equal income for everyone. There's not like equal society income, and this is very. It can be seen like distinctively. Leaders usually seek for wealth and for power, and as I said before, they look for their interest. So this creates that they gain all the money, and those who are not leaders, who are in the first level workers, are not getting very well paid, and sometimes it isn't fair for them, which creates more poverty. Also, there is tribalism, which means that there are a lot of differences between tribes, and there is a lot of tension, and this creates a toxic environment in business context sometimes, which can bring to intolerance and sometimes even acts of violence. Violence is the fourth aspect we're going to talk here. As I said before about history, violence has been around the history for a long time because of all the tribes differences, and it can be seen in the social life, daily life. It is fueled by a desire of power, and they want that their tribe wins the best, and they want the better for themselves, but they are not always thinking about the whole country, but only their community. This creates a lot of violence. Also, there's ethnic extremism. And the last one, the fifth one, is the desire for a change. So, due to all the four aspects we talk about later, before, previously, many of the Kenyan people are looking for a change, and they really hope that things can be different in their country. So whenever a leader gets there with that discourse saying that they are going to change how things run there, they really look and follow them because it's what they're desperately looking for. Values. I'm going to talk about the values in a business context, but they have a philosophy which is run through the business and the personal context, which is called Ubuntu. And it has the affinity and kinship among and between indigenous people of Africa. That's the main meaning. So it is caring for the other, caring for your culture, caring for your traditions, caring for your community, and no harming, just being with your family and those who are around you. And that's their philosophy. And what do they look for in African leaders? For example, what kind of values they look for leaders to pass to their employers. They look for respect for the other, for the dignity. They are all the time trying to show themselves that they are there, they have a dignity, and they like a leader who likes to work in like a teamwork. They like to work in group, and that this leader be ready to service the others, to be there for them whenever they need to, and to bring harmony into the group. They also look for a human oriented leadership, following the Ubuntu philosophy. So they like a leader who is full of generosity and kindship, compassion, who's full of empathy, who considers them. So that's for them. It's very important also that they have a religious or a spiritual orientation, because they are very religious. They like someone who has the power, like the power figure, but also who is ready to serve the others. And so they're very used to that, and to follow a leader who is spiritual. So that's very important for them. And well, there are also the Hofstede dimensions. So first, we're going to talk about the power distance. It has a very high score. As I said, they look for an authority, so they really have that, um, like, shown. They follow a leader, they follow the rules, they follow what they say, so they give a lot of power to that authority. They are a collective society, as I said before, also. And they like to work in group and to feel the harmony, to feel that they know each other. Like, it is very difficult for them to get engaged in a business context with someone who they just knew, like, for a moment. And well, about the masculinity versus femininity, they are very masculine, as I said before. They like to follow the rules. They're strict. And well, about the long-term orientation and the indulgence, we don't have that much. I couldn't find that much information, but I do know that they are not long-term oriented. They are more short-term. That's what I could find. About among other aspects that defines the Kenyan culture is that it is a very patriarchal society. So I found a very important and a very good example of how they work. So about the power distance and everything, it starts from home. So when there is a family, that is the one who goes to work and who looks for their children to provide everything they need, and the woman can study and everything, but still their place is at home. So they have this authority from the beginning, like following the dot, and that's how everything starts. And later on they follow and other authorities, like the teachers and the boss, and that's how it continues, like the chain continues. This creates an inequality around the society. And another thing is that they are, like, the inequality can be seen also in education. So not everyone has the opportunity to study. It's not that they don't have the study there to be there, but they don't have the time, let's say. So usually those who has less income are the ones who cannot study that much, who feel that they are in a lower level. So they try to look for a leader who personifies them and who speaks for them and tries to, like, give them a voice. So that's how also the power distance is, like, shown very easily. So that's why the score in this dimension is so high. Finally, I'm going to talk about three stereotypes. There are about Kenya that are not that true. One of them is that Kenya is a backward country, undeveloped, and they don't have a lot of technology. It's all about warm weather, but this is not true. As we had said in another presentation, Kenya is very advanced in sustainable energy and innovation. They obtain their energy from electrical activity, like 50% comes from the hydroelectric activities, and only from the geothermal activity they get a 13%. Also, 9 out of 10 people has a smartphone, so they really have access to technology, and they even have banking apps, mobile apps, which many think that that is not possible there, but they are using them, and they also have, like, this is very interesting, the M-Pesa, which is a like Neki here in Colombia. It is a system of payment by mobile phone, so they are very good in technology. Stereotypes too. Due to all the tribes and they believe in different kind of gods, or it is mainly a Muslim country. This is not true. Yeah, there are Muslims there because of all the Arabic influence that I talked about before, but 70% of the Kenyans are Christian. However, from that, the majority are Protestant. This is because of the British influence here. All the others are Catholics at 28%. About the 25% are still with indigenous religion, and there are also some Asiatic religions there, like Hindu and some others. So no, it is not mainly a Muslim country, or they are not all about different gods and tribes. The third stereotype we're going to talk about is Africa is a whole country, or Kenya is one of the 1,000 cities, and they don't have access to a study. Well, this is an stereotype that is usually found in North America, in maybe like in Europe, in Australia, and some other countries, some countries of South America, and even and so, from Asia. Like in some countries, you may know, like for example, here in Colombia, they teach us, like Africa is not a whole country. However, they may think that Kenya is a city and not a country. So yeah, well, Kenya is one of many countries that are there. It has 68 languages, but Africa has more than 2,000 languages. So this is a stereotype that is totally wrong, of course. And about the study, studying, yes, they have access to study, and it's very easy because it is free. And I had talked about this before, but anyways, the thing is that there are some families that are so poor that they cannot afford their children to go to school because they need they need them to work, and they need them to go to a crop, to do some agriculture, or to provide anything to the family, and that's why they don't have time to go to study, and that's how the inequality is so it increases so much. Thank you for your attention.